class. It's nice to meet you. My name is Professor Deirdre Wills, and I'm your instructor for this fully online 16-week course, Art History 1B, Renaissance to Modern Art. You might have noticed that there is also an Art History 1A that covers prehistoric to medieval art. I just wanted to reassure you that you don't have to take Art History 1A to take 1B. I'll fill you in a little bit about what happened in Art History 1A to give you a little sense of the class. Some of the lessons might resurface in our current upcoming 1B class, but no worries, you can take them out of order. So look for a quick summary of that class in your orientation unit on Canvas. I'll be referring to my notes from time to time here, by the way. As a little background, I've been teaching at PCC for about 6 years. I attended both a community college, an art school, and universities as well, over in Riverside at UC Riverside, and also at a university in Germany when I was an exchange student, where I eventually developed this passion for art history. I've also worked at art museums professionally, including the California Museum of Art and the Getty here in Southern California. As well as arts institutions looking to keep arts alive and thriving as part of our broader national education agenda. That was particularly true when I was working with the National Endowment for the Arts out of Washington, D.C. To this day, museums are my place to chill out, almost on a Zen-like level. Maybe it's how organized they are, or how much they make us focus and pay attention to the interesting and sometimes surprising things that might be displayed there. They're always my choice to relax, but also get inspired, even on a Friday night at the Norton Simon Museum, which is free, by the way, on Friday nights, but also free with your student ID. And a great date night, by the way, with Old Town Pasadena just down the way. I like doing other stuff too, like chasing down vintage vinyl at the PCC flea market. Any 80s music fans out there by chance? Well, enough about me. Let's get to a little bit about a summary of the course. Why take this class anyway, besides satisfying a major or a GE requirement? The great thing about taking an online art history class is that your computer and or tablet device are going to serve as a time machine of sorts, allowing you to travel back to meet the artists, cultures, and places associated with over 700 years of Western art history. What does Western mean anyway? Well, there will be no cowboys involved. Western art history is a broad regional term used by scholars and historians to refer to the areas of European and American origin where we'll focus our studies. We'll begin with the early Renaissance in the 13th century, and from there move forward in time to examine other areas such as Baroque, Neoclassicism, Romanticism, Impressionism, and many more isms within the modern or avant-garde art movements of the late 19th and early 20th centuries as well. Why take art history? Well, it's more than meets the eye. Although it's a very visual class, that's true, with lots of art and architecture that we'll be looking at. But the benefit of taking art history is more than just learning about, why Leonardo da Vinci, the famous Renaissance artist, commands, world record-breaking auction prices to this day, or why poor Vincent van Gogh sadly cut off his own ear. It's art history is a great way to learn, to understand, evaluate, describe, and communicate about any kind of art piece or creative product. These are skills that are increasingly important in our 21st century world. We're not only more technologically savvy now than ever before, but with that comes a real requirement to be able to comprehend and articulate concepts and products, whether for fun or for business. And that's often to people you'll never meet in person. With our global economy, that's very true. After completing this course, you should be able to better recognize and understand cultures and their values, religious influences, and how politics and social justice plays a part in this survey of art history. We'll even examine how women were represented by themselves and by others through a feminist lens. So not only are you going to be able to leave this class and be able to recognize works associated with an art historical movement like the Italian Renaissance or Cubism, but you'll recognize the work of individual artists too. Like, hey, look, there's a Picasso. And the Norton Simon has many Picassos. You'll also understand a lot more about the techniques artists used, the power of symbolism in art, and the impact of those who hire these artists, as well as when it gets hard to tell, when an artwork looks real or seems real with its message and true, or when art starts to venture into the arena of manipulation and propaganda, or maybe touches into sort of the deeper psychologies of the artist through movements like surrealism. How was art used by those in power? And when did artists start to rise up and understand that they themselves can use their art to make powerful statements from their vantage point, instead of being told what to do by a powerful king or pope, that kind of thing. Everyone loves a rebel, and we'll meet several in this class that are very entertaining. All right. Finally, I wanted to direct you to some resources to help you get started with this class. The first thing you'll want to do, of course, to get ready for this fully online class is to read my welcome letter located in our class portal on the Canvas dashboard. If you're new to PCC, or it's been a minute since you've taken a class back here at the through PCC, make sure your Lancer Point and Canvas accounts are set up with current contact information and passwords on whatever devices you prefer. Since this is an online class, it's very important to do this since all class communications excuse me, let me get a sip of coffee. All right, so set up those passwords, get, easy access to those portals, because all class communications, discussions, and assignments, and exams as well, will be taught and evaluated through Canvas. The welcome letter will also give you further information about accessing this course and when our online course begins, your course check-in requirements, so I know you're attending, and additional resources and links, especially regarding additional accessibility issues for those who need it, more general information about online learning, and my contact information. If this is your first online class, well, get ready. I hope to get you very enthused about taking more, since this is a fantastic way to make progress toward your degree from the comfort of your home, your office, your local Starbucks, wherever you like to work. Expect lots of great content and visuals, as well as many links to the increasingly rich world of educational documentaries, tours, etc., that will allow us to use art to travel back in time. Once in our classroom portal, you'll see a tab that will take you to our class syllabus, which details the textbook that will be required for this class. I'm looking forward to meeting you all next week with an icebreaker discussion before we get into that art history time machine. So, welcome aboard.